All right, Blue Table fans, here are some pictures and models that could be integrated into this Rat Ogre Kingdom's concept army. And away we go. This website is called Bane Beasts, as you can see in the upper right there, and it has all these really fantastic creatures. Now, I'm not sure on availability here. I just know that there's this really cool Thing of the Infernal Pits. So this would make, this is a chariot base down here, by the way. So this could potentially make a really cool stand-in for a Thunder Tusk or a Stone Horn. And that comes in at 50 British pounds. And let's go right on over to Forge World. So here's the Forge World Skaven. So here's your Skaven Wolf Rats. These are what I recommended as a stand-in for Saber Tusks, and they are relatively inexpensive compared to the regular Saber Tusk models. Looks like 28 British pounds for 5. So that turns into probably about $45, which is about $9 each. So actually, now that I think about it, they really aren't that less expensive. They are on cavalry basis, so they're appropriately sized. But they are really cool looking, and that's what this army is all about. So here you go, Exalted Vermin Lord. This is what I'm recommending for stand-in for the Slaughter Master. As you can see, he is on a chariot base, but if you look at how the model is posed, you could very conceivably reduce him down. Well, you'd really have to reduce him to a 40, so I'm not sure how that would fit. But really, you could just have this base part attached to the base, weight it down really, really good. Or actually just put a 40 by 80 base, which would work really quite nicely, and then just do some kind of, stand-in for supposedly the ogre that's behind him, if that made any sense at all. Now for the Iron Blasters, which is a really cool item, would be this guy right here with a Warp Lightning Cannon on him. And you can't tell me that wouldn't be fantastic. As you can see, he's also on a chariot base, so this would be exactly the right size there. So by all means, check out the link and get in touch with us if you want this army to be yours.
Hey, Blue Table fans! Yes, I'm here at the whiteboard. And I'm going to tell you about an awesome concept army that we came up with downstairs. And if you are interested in this, by all means, contact us for a quote. I will put some preliminary numbers down below. This could obviously, in terms of budget, go a lot of different directions. We can. Our thing is there's a lower end where it's just get it done, the simplest way possible, and then there's a higher end where it's insanely converted, painted to a higher level, and that whole thing. So there's a range, and there's also a range according to the size of the army. Is it do you go lower points level or do you go a higher points level? So here it is. It's Rat Ogre Kingdoms, Clan Molder, and so it's all beasts, and it uses the Ogre's army list. Let me show you how it works. Let me just check my positioning here. That is a dry erase marker. That marker puts the dry and dry erase. Okay, so here it is. Here we go. I'm going to keep it in those lines. Just check this. All right, here we go. So what you would do is you would obviously need, since everything's on 40 millimeters, you've got to make adjustments for that. So you do for your heroes, so you have a general, and the model is, we'll put G for general, and the model is a rat ogre with a guy on war litter on top, and that's your tyrant. So tyrant, okay, and then you have a butcher and a slaughter master, so I'm going to put W for wizard. Same thing there. You do some kind of, giant rat creature for that. And let me see, what else could you do? Could you actually do a rat ogre that was like this shaman rat ogre? That would be a cool conversion. Or you could do it like Arabian Nights crippled guy on like a gray seer, like actually riding the neck of this giant this giant rat ogre. So tons of possibilities there. Now there are people. This army could be done where we draw from outside the Games Workshop range, or we can keep it pure depending on your tournament scene and who you play. So so we've got this. We need a BSB, of course. Same thing. And that could just be this particularly mean-looking converted rat ogre with like a banner on his back, or maybe like a bell, you know, that he has like this huge, you know, thing where this bell tolls in between it as he, you know, as he shambles along, clong, clong, right? So there's your characters right there, and then of course you need massive blocks of rat ogres, and those are your ogre bulls. Let's say 4 wide, 3 deep, and we'll do a couple of those, right? And you could easily make these into iron guts and give the rat ogres cool weapons like giant, you know, and even draw things from the Ogre Kingdom's range because the hands are about the right size. No, they are the right size. Savage orcs can provide some good hands. Oddly, the savage orc hands are the same as the ogre hands, and those can go really well. So you got a couple blocks. Now here's where the fun starts. You throw in a couple iron blasters if you're feeling particularly mean. And here's what those look like. You take a warp lightning cannon and you mount it, the whole, you know, wooden assembly with like ropes and stuff, and the crew is on top. Maybe there's a guy like goading this, and you get one of those giant rats. I think it's called a pox beast or something like that. I'm going to provide some links in the liner notes so you can look at some of these really cool models put out by Forge World that go with the Skaven. That would just be absolutely fantastic for this Rat Ogre Kingdoms army, all Clan Molder themed. So remember, you're using the Ogre Kingdoms list, and you could get even crazier by doing conversions for the Thunder Tusk Stonehorn. And here, I'm not even sure what I would do for this, because it would have to be like some huge, horrible creature to match that height. What would it even be? Could you find some sort of mutated rat thing? So so all clan Boulder. So you've got your troops here, iron guts and bulls, and you could split them up. You could split it into 3 units of 4 if you whatever. For the sake of simplicity, I just did it like this. So here's your iron blasters. So the iron blaster is a giant rat with a warp lightning cannon on the back. Oh my gosh, how fun is that? And, oh, what just occurred to me is for your Slaughtermaster, one of your wizards, you could do a Vermin Lord for that. I got a couple of ideas here. One is a, use figures from Rackham. Rackham Wolfen figures, sculpt on like a rat's head, and use those like a Kiliox, for example, if you're familiar with this line. And those could be your wizards, is these demonic Vermin Lords. An Exalted Vermin Lord, I bet with some finagling you could get it onto a 40mm base where he was, you know, posed right. And that would make a great Slaughtermaster. Crazy stuff that that you could do with that. There's things called Rat Hounds from Forge World, and those would be great saber tusks. So that's what I would do. I would grab a couple of those, maybe even 4, right? And what else? What else from the Ogre Kingdoms list? And there's a ton of things you could do with what are those called? The guys, the Gorgers, right? So there's just and on it goes. So there's about a zillion different ideas for this concept army. If you are interested, check the liner notes below. I can give you a rough range of costs. That would be us providing everything. We do encourage you to order your figures and have them sent directly to the studio. We're glad to do it as a convenience. However, there is definitely something to be said for just ordering it yourself and having it sent directly to the studio. And yeah, so Rat Ogre Kingdoms. That is the concept army of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is a privilege, an absolute privilege, to be in this industry, to be here with you. Every time somebody orders something, I feel a rush of gratitude that we have been. It's almost like winning something. it's like, oh, that's awesome. And every single person that works here really puts their heart into their work. So thank you very much for tuning in.